I am not naive, and I'll close, that there are many people still vaccine hesitant. That's why the state put $40 million up. We announced this last week in a CalVax grant program to encourage family practices, family physicians, to have a private setting where they can address that anxiety and that hesitancy. But we are exhausted, respectfully, exhausted by the ideological prism that too many Americans are living under. We're exhausted by the Ron Johnsons and the Tucker Carlsons. We're exhausted by the Marjorie Taylor-Greenes. We're exhausted by the right-wing echo chamber that has been perpetuating misinformation around the vaccine and its efficacy and safety. We're exhausted by the politicalization of this pandemic, and that includes mask wearing that has been equated to the Holocaust. It's disgraceful, it's unconstitutional, it's unconscionable, and it needs to be called out. Increasingly, it is being called out, and I want to acknowledge that. And I want to applaud particularly Republican leaders that have had the courage to call that out. And I hope more and more will do the same. It's choice to live with this virus. And with all due respect, you don't have a choice to go out and drink and drive and put everybody else's lives at risk. That's the equivalent of this moment with the deadliness and efficiency of the Delta virus. You're putting other people's, innocent people's lives at risk. You're putting businesses at risk. You're putting at risk the ability to educate our kids by getting them back in person full time for in-person instruction. No more Zoom schools. We want to keep our economy moving. We want our small businesses on their feet. Your choice not to get vaccinated and to listen to these pundits that are profiteering off misinformation, intentionally misinforming you, comes at a real societal cost. We need to be more clear about that, and we need to call that out. And so we are doing just that in our state, and increasingly we're seeing that with leaders of all political stripes across this country, and that is indeed encouraging. And so it's in that frame, in that spirit of some optimism about our capacity to deal with this. We can deal with this disease in a month. If everybody that has not gotten vaccinated got vaccinated, we can extinguish this disease. You won't be asking about mask mandates. It's the wrong question. The question is, why haven't we followed the science, and why aren't we finishing the job? 75% of Californians, 74.8% of all eligible Californians have received at least one dose, but there's 25% of people that haven't. And that's our focus here today. Lead by example, encourage these healthcare settings to do the same in the private sector, not just the public sector, and to start be a little bit more clear about the lines that need to be drawn, calling out the failure of too many that have megaphones, that are abusing that privilege and that right by spewing misinformation while the entire time they're sitting there working for organizations that require vaccinations to be administered and have received life-saving vaccinations themselves. That's a hell of a thing.